I see the last central bank cut as a steady, careful and balanced cut. Because it's not right to make sudden moves up or down that could contain some violence, that could create a tremor in the economy. But I believe it will be beneficial to continue this steadily. And right now, this new administration of the central bank, since they took office, they've been carrying out a cut, taking into consideration especially the interest rate policies of the government. And I think this is an important signal, especially for investors. My hope is that the other banks will take this signal that the central bank has given, that they also heed it, and accordingly that they open the way for investors. Micklethwait question.
You are an economist. Surely you're a bit worried by inflation is at 8%. Is that really a time to cut interest rates? I know that when you came in, inflation was much higher. It was 70%. But still, 8% is a lot higher than other countries. Surely cutting interest rates is a bit dangerous.
Actually, in Turkey, before we took over the office, we had seen inflation exceed 3 digits. When we took over the office, the inflation was very high. It was around 30%, and then the interest rates used to be around 63%. And after we took over, the official inflation rate started going down. And throughout the Gezi protests, the interest rates reached 4.6%. And the interest rates at that low level and the real interest rate being at that level pulled inflation down. Let me say something. I don't see inflation as being inversely correlated with interest rates. It's exactly the opposite. I see inflation and interest rates as directly correlated. If you raise interest rates, inflation will rise that much. However much you cut interest rates, inflation will start to fall with that. For my 14 years as Prime Minister and then President, I followed this, and I've seen this. When we've seen banks raise rates, inflation has gone up. But when we cut them, inflation has gone down. And even now, when I look at the measures being taken, if inflation is falling, it's because interest rates are falling. Otherwise, these things about the basket and so on, these aren't things that impact this issue so much. This is my belief.
That sounds to me as if you would like interest rates to come lower still. If you think that the lower interest rates get, the lower inflation gets, it would be better if interest rates went down even further. I know a lot of economists disagree with that, but is that what you think?
I'm going to give you the most outstanding example in that regard. If we consider interest rates having a different nature from one country to another, that would be a wrong of a perception. Looking at the interest rates in the United States, it's around 0.5%. And when you look at the European countries, the interest rates are around 1% or 1.5%. And then in Japan, the interest rates are negative. And in these countries, if interest rates are that low, why should rates be 13, 14, 15% in Turkey? However high you hold interest rates in a country, you remove that much investment from that country. In a country where there's no investment, we can't talk about development. We can only talk about development in a country where there's investment. Although we've been pushing this issue, we still haven't seen the speed and stability in investments we wish to see. If interests were low, investors would get credit immediately and start to invest. When interest rates are high, they cannot invest. Right now, despite this, our investors are making investments. I say let's look at America as an example, Europe, Japan, and accordingly, let's bring interest rates as low as possible.